Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Facebook Live. Kate and Fiona coming at you. Today, we want to talk about this whole conversation of time management versus choice management. And I think one of the things we come up against really often is this piece of, I don't have time, right? Time is an excuse. I don't have time to go and build my network or build relationships with some of those stakeholders within in my network or in my organization. They're really crucial, perhaps for me progressing my career. I don't have time to get involved in that project or read a current affairs and stay across things so I can use that in conversations or just generally in terms of kind of elevating my strategic thinking. And I think this one is really interesting because time is one of my highest values. So we're working on unhooking that a little bit. So for me, absolutely, time, I think, sits smack bang in the middle around of decisions and choices. But time is a great equaliser, right? We've all got the same amount of time. You and I have the same amount of time. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Jacinta Ardern, world leaders, we all have 24 hours in a day. And so I think this is a really curious one in terms of us starting to spotlight our relationship with time, how we think about that, how it impacts our progress, the choices we make, and where we win and perhaps where we're losing. And I think it's a huge mindset shift.
Yeah, I really have just been so excited to have the language around this, because I think we use time so much as an excuse. We blame it. We blame that we don't have enough time. It's outside of us. It's something that I don't have control over. I'm not responsible for, in a way. This whole notion that somehow, I don't have enough time. But as you say, everybody has the same amount of time. So actually, in every moment, we're making choices, whether we're conscious of them or not, whether we're thinking of them as choices. We are actually making a choice about where we spend our time. So it becomes a bit tricky when we sort of say, oh, well, actually, everyone's got options, everyone's got choices. And it feels like, to me, I don't have them. And I guess today is a lot about waking ourselves up to the fact that actually we do have a choice in each and every moment, and how we spend our time, where we make priorities, where we don't, that's going to affect the outcomes and the experiences we have. And if we're making the choices that mean we get to expand our world and to do more of what we love, that's exciting. But if we're blaming time and making choices that make our life smaller, we aren't doing all the things we would love, that's also something to really dig into.
Yeah, I think this is so much about personal power, right? Which is saying, okay, so, and I think, look, inherently, we talk a lot about we've got permission to have it all, right? We can do it all. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. A quote someone said to me yesterday. But we can do it all, which is then the inherent challenge, because we see, what is burnout for women, right? It's having a million priorities and trying to fit it all into a small amount of time, versus actually getting really clear about what is important and making some choices. I think the real challenge, and we've seen it with women we coach, the real challenge isn't what you're saying yes to, it's what you're saying no to. And it's actually having the confidence to say no. And as you always say, it's not no forever, it's no for now. But I think it's stepping in, because you're right, we are making choices whether we're conscious of it or not. And when we're, that crazy, frenetic, oh, I'm out of control, I don't have time mindset, is actually when we haven't stepped into the driver's seat of making conscious choice. And when we do that, we are going to have to make some choices we don't like. I might miss out on some stuff that I don't want to miss out on. I might not do something to the level that I'd like to in terms of completion, accuracy, all of those sorts of things. But I'm owning my experience, right? I'm owning the choice that I'm making. But more importantly, you can then manage around it, right? You can manage expectations with stakeholders. You can manage expectations with family, for example, your disappointing family. But I think in the absence of that, we just can be almost victim-like, going, oh, I don't have time. No, you do. It's what's the choices you're making and what's the priorities you're taking.
Yeah, this piece about your agency in every situation feels uncomfortable at first, but really worth getting conscious about. Really, this one is so powerful as you start to realize, I do actually have a choice here. I do. In fact, I don't just have one choice. The more we expand this, you've possibly got many more choices than you ever even realize. And to get to that place, it does take this confidence, this sort of willingness to go, actually, I can't do it all. And I'm going to prioritize things. I'm going to choose the things that are going to serve me best right now, because it's not necessarily forever, but trying to do everything or throwing our hands in the air and getting overwhelmed, that's not an answer either. I think the more that we can think about what's important first, like that first piece of clarity, what are the big rocks we sometimes talk about, the big things that I'm not prepared to compromise on, those things kind of, once I've got clarity around those, then I can actually see what my options and choices are around that. And I think at that point, hopefully it becomes easier to say no to the things that aren't as high priority at the moment. And the more we're able to do that discernment piece, the easier it becomes.
Yeah, I think clarity creates confidence, right? I think every time we're in Q&A sessions for Acts of Confidence, we are talking about the two topics we talk nearly every week about: clarity and fear. And I think they're both really present in today's conversation. I think the ability to expand our choices. I'm reminded of a conversation we had with a good friend and past client of ours who was going, around Australia in a caravan, and she was going to resign from her job. And I said, well, have you asked, right? Have you asked if you could work remotely, which seems ridiculous these days, but it was, I think, 2 years ago. And I think there's an opportunity here to expand our choices and not to be limited by either what society thinks okay, what my organization thinks okay, or what I at a default level thinks okay. And I think this is something we don't do well. Many of us are on autopilot. We're just kind of going, oh, that's done, or that's not done. That's okay. That's not okay. And so I think the opportunity here is to think creatively, like, how can I do that and do that? Or how can I focus on that priority and really get creative, expand your choices. A good thought leader in our world talks about bad people aren't bad people. They've just got bad choices, right? They're just choosing. They've got two bad choices and they make one. So I think this is about elevating and expanding our choice or our choice menu. And then I think it's about making some decisions. And there's no question that redefining our relationship with fear is really important, because all the uncomfortable stuff around missing out, around ego, reputation, all of that stuff is going to come straight up in our face. And we have to make those decisions so we can move on. And it might be that, we have to communicate those decisions. We have to get agreement around those decisions with loved ones or key stakeholders. But I think we've got to draw a line in the sand and then be able to move on.
Yeah, all of that takes confidence, right? If I'm going to make decisions, I'm going to communicate with family, I'm going to communicate with work. If I'm going to say no to something, I'm going to have to lean into some conversations that are possibly a bit uncomfortable and difficult. And that's where this piece about the clarity first, and then raising our consciousness and our confidence so that we can actually have those conversations well, have them so they land in the way we'd like to. I think that's the exciting opportunity here, really, is to reframe this and to go, well, I've got choices. I'm going to make those choices with clarity, and I'm going to do all of this from a place of that inner power, of that confidence to do it well.
Yeah. So if you find yourself saying, I don't have time, press pause. What choice am I going to make? Really step in and reframe your relationship with time versus choice management. If you love today's conversation, we'd love for you to leave a comment or a question in the chat feed below. And of course, if you love this or any of our other confidence conversations, please share them with a friend. We know that this work just has incredible reframe shifts on how people go about living their life and work. So we'd love for you to help us in pursuing that mission. And of course, if you'd like to go deeper with your relationship with confidence, please visit our website, coreconfidence.com.au, and you can check out a whole bunch of resources there. Take care, guys, and have a great week.